In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the squares for my Delilah blanket. You'll need 5 different colour yarns. If you wanted to use the same ones as me, you can find the yarn details on my blog. You'll need a hook. I'm using a 4mm hook, but you can use whichever hook size works for you. And you'll need a pair of scissors. Just a reminder that I use UK crochet terms in my videos. Before I start, a little word about blocking. If you follow me on social media, you'll know I'm not much of a blocker. I don't really find it necessary with my granny squares, as joining them does the blocking for me. But if you prefer to block your granny squares before you join them, then feel free to do so. There's really no right or wrong, it's just not something that I bother doing myself. The first 3 rounds of our granny square, we're actually going to be making a granny circle. So I'm going to start by using the lighter pink, make a slip knot and pop it onto your hook. And we start round 1 by making 4 chains. Now you probably know by now that I'm not a fan of the magic ring start. I hate them, I avoid them at all costs. And I prefer to work my round into the first chain that I made. So we've made these 4 chains here, and the first chain that we made will become the centre of our circle, and the other 3 chains that we've made will represent the first stitch, which in this case will be a treble crochet. So we're now going to work another 11 treble crochets into the first chain. As I said, that becomes the centre of the circle. So we're going to make 11 more trebles. Now, I haven't been counting them as I go along, so I'm going to have to stop in a moment and count how many I've done. I think we're almost there. Let's have a count up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then one more makes 12. So that's my 12 trebles all done. And then slip stitch into the top of the first chains that you made. And that's your first round done. You can fasten off that pink colour. And that's round 1 done. On to round 2 now. So make a slip knot in the darker pink and pop that onto your hook. Now we need to join our yarn in between the trebles from the previous round. So what I'm going to do is join in between the chain that we made and the first treble, and join with a double crochet and 1 chain, and that's going to represent your first treble crochet. And what I'm going to do as I work around round 2 is I'm going to crochet over the ends from round 1. So we're going to work another treble crochet in between those 2 treble crochets from the previous round, and at the same time work over our ends. So now you've got 2 treble crochets in the gap between the 2 treble crochets from the previous round, and we're going to do the same thing again. So it's 2 treble crochets, taking care to work over the ends from the previous round, in the space between the gap between the next 2 treble crochets. And then it's the same again, repeat the process. So we're going to work 2 treble crochets in between the treble crochets from the previous round. I'll just show you what that looks like, so you can see there's clusters of 2 treble crochets. So keep working in between the treble crochets of round 1. Taking care to work over your ends from the previous round. It just saves you a few ends to sew in. So I'm at the last gap now, So 2 trebles in between the trebles from the previous round, and you should have 24 trebles altogether, and then join to the top of the second treble stitch. So it's this one here. So join your round there, and you can fasten off that colour. All done with that one now, and that's round 2 all done. On to round 3 now, and this is the final round of our granny circle. So I'm using the green, make a slip knot, pop it on my hook. Now we're going to be working round 3, all the stitches of round 3, in between the 2 treble clusters from round 2. So you can see here you've got pairs of trebles all the way around. So we're going to be working in between those. So we need to join next to where we finished our previous round, so the first gap, which is that one there, and join with a double crochet, chain 1, and that represents the first treble. We're now going to work 2 more trebles into that same little gap there, and we're going to work over our ends as well, just to save us a bit of time once we've finished our square. So 2 more trebles into that gap, and that forms our 3 treble cluster. We're going to do exactly the same thing into the next gap between the 2 treble clusters from the previous round. So 3 trebles. And then move along to the next gap and do exactly the same. 3 trebles, taking care to work over your ends. And then continue in the same way all around your circle. So I'm just at the last gap here, working my 3 treble cluster into there, and I'm ready to join the round. So just join to the first stitch, and you should have 36 trebles. And you can fasten off your yarn here, and that's the granny circle part of your square all finished. So on to round 4 now, and I'm going to be using the light blue colour, and we're going to be squaring our circle off now. So make a slip knot and pop it onto your hook. Now I'm not going to work over my ends on this round because there's just 2 bigger gaps now, and I find that if the gaps are too big, then the ends kind of find their way out once the blanket's washed a few times. So I'll be sewing my ends in the traditional way on these subsequent rounds. So what we need to do is join our yarn. You can join in whichever gap you want to, it really doesn't matter, and join with a double crochet and 2 chains. And this represents your first double treble. And we're going to make 2 more double trebles into the same space. That's the second one. 1 chain, and then 3 more double trebles into that same space. And that forms our first corner of our square. So move along to the next space, and we're going to work 3 treble crochets into this space. So we'll work along this side edge of our square now. And then move along to the next space and work 3 more treble crochets into that one. And into the next space, we're going to be working our corner again. So it's 3 double treble crochets into that space. One chain and 3 more double treble crochets into that same space. So you can see you've got your corners starting to form and one straight edge along there. So along to the second edge of your square, the next space, working 3 trebles again into there. Onto the next space and 3 more trebles into there. And we now need to make our next corner. So it's, oh, got a knot in my yarn. So next corner is 3 double treble crochets into this space. One chain and 3 more double treble crochets into that same space. I'll take my hook out so you can see. So now you've got 2 edges of your square now, your corners all formed. So onto the next edge and into the next space, it's the 3 trebles again. And the next space, 3 trebles. And we're on to our last corner now. So into the next space, working your 3 double treble crochets. One chain and 3 more double treble crochets. We just need to finish off this last side. So into the next space, 3 trebles. And this last space again, 3 trebles. And then with a slip stitch, join the round to the top of the chain that you made. And you can fasten off this colour. Just manipulate that a little bit. So you can now see that that is all squared off, and we can now move on to the next round. So on to the next round, and if you're familiar with making granny squares, just traditional style granny squares, then this round is just a traditional granny square round. And I'm using the nice turquoise blue now. I'm going to make a slip knot and pop that on my hook. And I'm going to join my yarn in a corner with a double crochet, 1 chain, and that represents my first treble. And then we're going to make 2 more trebles into that corner space. 1 chain and 3 trebles into the same corner space. And that is our first corner formed for this round. Move along to the next space, the next gap, and we're going to work our normal standard 3 treble clusters into that one. So like I said, it's just a traditional granny square round, this one. Same again into the next space. Same again into the next space. And that brings us to the next corner. So in the corner, we're going to make 3 trebles, 1 chain and 3 trebles. And we're going to continue around the square, working in the corner spaces, 3 trebles, 1 chain, 3 trebles, and in the spaces along the edges, 3 treble clusters, until you get to the end of the round. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll meet with you once we get there. So I'm just at the last space here of the round. So I'm working my 3 treble cluster into that one. And then join your round to the top of the first stitch that you made. And you can fasten off that colour. And that's our Delilah square all done, bar sewing in the ends. I'm going to be joining my Delilah squares using my double crochet continuous join as you go methods. So I've worked an additional round with my joining colour, which is this ivory colour, and that's just a traditional granny square round again, just like the turquoise round was. You can find a video for the double crochet continuous join as you go method on my channel, and you can find more information about my Delilah blanket on my blog. Thank you very much for watching, and if you'd like to see more of my tutorials, come and subscribe to my channel. Keep up to date with what I'm making by following Little Dove Crochet on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, bye!